Hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. Today we are discussing the Tuckman model, and this is something which is part of not just PMP courseware but other certifications as well. And this is in fact taught in management courses as well. If any of you is from the MBA background, it is possible that you would have already studied the Tuckman model. These are the 5 stages of the Tuckman model: forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning. Some of the texts only talk about 4 stages: forming, storming, norming, and performing, and not the adjourning part. But PMP courseware and the PMBOK guide talks about adjourning as well. So we will look into all 5 stages. As always, if you're into reading articles rather than watching videos, first link in the description will take you to our official website and the relevant article on Tuckman model on the website itself. Also, second link in the description will take you to the entire playlist of every single video that we have done on resource management knowledge area. All right, with that being clear, let's get started and understand the Tuckman model. Develop team. Now, this is a process that we have already discussed, and thanks to this process, you now know how important team development really is. And as a project manager, it is very important, extremely important for you to work in this area and look into how you can develop your team. Now, this is where, when you're looking into how you develop your team, this is where Mr. Bruce Tuckman comes in. And like I said, this is part of the develop team process, which is part of executing process group and resource management knowledge area. So in the develop team process is where you will be studying about the Tuckman model. All right, let's get started. So the Tuckman model, this concept has 2 names, and it is important that you know both of them, so that if you see in the exam Tuckman model of team development or the Tuckman group stages, you should not be confused thinking that these are 2 different concepts, because these are actually the same concepts. All right, so in certain texts it is known as Tuckman group stages as well, but this is about the development stages that a team commonly goes through. So basically this model is talking about 5 different stages that we have seen in the first slide. Let's now look into every single one of those stages. All right, so the first stage is forming, and this is the stage when team members meet and learn about the project as well as their formal roles and responsibilities. So more of an introduction of sorts, right? You just meet new people, you just meet your team members, and you learn what the project is all about, what you are going to do as part of this project. That's all that you are doing. Introduction of sorts. So team members here in this stage are independent and they are not as open, which is obvious, right? When you meet someone new, you are not as open, right, in the beginning. So that is the forming stage. The second stage is storming, and this is where the team members begin addressing the project work and take technical decisions. So you are now starting to work on the project. You are now going to be taking technical decisions. And we have discussed in the develop team process how the team members, it is possible that they come from varied backgrounds. They come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different countries. They may speak different languages. They may have their own set of beliefs. And when you start working on the project, when you start taking technical decisions, those beliefs, and because of that varied backgrounds, all of that may come in the way of team working together as one unit. And that is precisely the stage of storming, aptly named, right? So the team members are not collaborative here, and they are also not open to differing ideas that other team members may have. All of this makes the environment counterproductive. So basically, this is the stage when things are going south. You, as a project manager, need to work and make sure that this stage is as small as possible, and the team moves over from this stage as soon as possible. Okay, before we move further, a quick reminder, all of our PMP courseware articles and videos are available on this link. Check it out, pmclounge.com/PMP training. So the third stage in the Tuckman model is norming. And this is the stage when team members start adjusting their work habits and behavior to support the team. So things are now basically mellowing down. People understand that there's a project at stake here and they need to deliver the project. So they start adjusting and make sure that they start working as a team, right, to support the team. So typically this is where team members begin working together and they also start trusting each other. So this is possibly the start of falling in love, right? So this is where norming stage comes in, and as a project manager it is very important for you to make sure that the team moves from the storming stage to the norming stage as soon as possible, and they start trusting each other and they start the work on the project in an effective way. The fourth stage in the Tuckman model is performing, and this is basically a project manager's dream come true when the team arrives at the performing stage, because this is where the team is at its peak. This is the stage when team starts to work as a well-oiled machine because the entire environment is of trust. The team members trust each other. The team members are totally interdependent, right? So team members, they also work through the issues effectively. So this is the best stage of your project because your team is working as a unit. Your team is working at the peak of their performance. And finally, the last stage of the Tuckman model is adjourning. And you may actually not find this stage in certain texts like I mentioned, but this is equally important. It is mentioned in the PMBOK guide, so we are going to cover it. So this is where team members move on from the project as the work is done. Your project is delivered, work is complete. This typically occurs when project team members are released from the project. So if you were working on uh, a project in a projectized environment, this is where project team members are released, and it is possible that you may never see them again, right? Because in the projectized environment, team members have no home. Now, this is a part of the close project or phase process because this is where everything is done, the team is adjourning. So, this is not part of the develop team process as such, but this is part of the close project or phase process. This is where you say your goodbyes and move on. All right, so a quick relook at the group stages. The first one is forming. This is where the introduction takes place. The second one is storming. This is where you're after each other's lives. Third is norming. This is where you get together. And fourth is performing, the peak performance of the project team. And finally, adjourning. Everything's done. We are good to go. This is a graph that talks about team effectiveness and the performance impact. So what happens to the project team's performance at different levels, the different stages of the Tuckman model? The first is forming, second is storming. Notice how the performance is at its lowest. Next is norming and then performing. Of course, this is where the highest performance the project team is able to produce. And finally, adjourning, everybody leaves for their home. We are all done. Now, some important points as far as Tuckman model is concerned. Please expect a question in the PMP exam based on Tuckman model, and chances are high that this question is going to be from this very slide. So number one important point that you should note is that it is common for these stages, the 5 stages that we talked about, to occur in the order that we have discussed. But it is also possible for the team to get stuck in a particular stage or even return to an earlier stage, right? So it is not necessary that the team is at the performing stage will never return back to the norming or the storming stage. It is also possible. So, and it is also possible that the team is stuck at the storming stage, which is going to be disastrous for any project manager and the project. If the team members have worked together previously, they might skip a stage. So if there's good camaraderie between the project team members, it is possible that you don't see a storming stage in your project itself. Finally, the duration of the stage isn't fixed. Very, very important. And this duration depends on the team dynamics, the team size, and your leadership, the project management leadership. Thus, the project manager must have good understanding of team dynamics in order to effectively move the team members through all stages and make sure you move them effectively the most in the storming stage. So question for this video, which stage requires the most and the least efforts from the project manager? Let me know the answer in the comments below. Looking forward to them. So that's all that we had in this video. Do hit the like button if you enjoyed it and got value out of it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified whenever we upload new content. And as always, don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP resource. Also, check us out on our social media. PMC Lounge is our handle on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.